1. Introduction. My name is Gemma, and I am 20 years old. Today is the most important day of my life, my wedding day. I stand in front of the mirror now. My hands are shaking slightly. I look at my reflection. I am wearing a very big white dress. It is a beautiful dress, but I feel strange in it. I feel like I cannot move freely. I feel like a doll that someone put inside a lovely box. I have always been a quiet girl. I am the girl who listens to her parents and follows every rule they give me. My parents chose the man for me. His name is Greg. I do not know Greg very well. He is 23 years old. He works at the docks every day. He lifts heavy boxes, so he is very strong. He is also a quiet man like me. My family and his family are happy about this marriage. They say I am a lucky woman to marry him, but inside my heart, I am not happy. I am very much afraid. I am afraid of what will happen after the wedding party ends. I am afraid of the future. The wedding ceremony begins. We stand in front of all our family and friends. Many people are watching us closely. My mother smiles at me. Greg's father looks proud. The music is loud. I walk slowly next to my father. I look down at my white shoes the whole time. The priest starts to talk. I try hard to listen to his words, but I cannot focus. My mind is thinking only about the new life that starts now. It is the moment when we must hold hands. Greg reaches out and takes my hand. This is the first time we hold hands like this. His hand is surprisingly warm. His skin feels rough and hard. This is because of his hard work. I feel how strong he is. He looks at me quickly, but I look away. I feel a terrible heat rising in my face. I am nervous and scared. Everyone is saying, "Gemma, you are a lucky girl." But I feel trapped. I think about my duties now. I am a wife. I do not know how to be a wife. I have only learned how to be a daughter. I do not know what I must do for Greg. I am scared of the things I do not know. I am scared of the duties that wait for me tonight. I try to hide my fear. I try to smile for the camera. I hold Greg's rough hand tightly and wait for the ceremony to finish. This is the start of everything new and unknown. 2. The new house. The wedding party was very long and loud. It ended late, after midnight. Greg and I drove away in his car. The drive to his apartment was completely silent. I looked out the car window at the dark streets. I felt very tired, but I could not relax. I was now Greg's wife, and this thought made my hands shake slightly. The apartment was small and simple. It was not fancy, but everything was clean and neat. Greg parked the car and we walked inside. He opened the door and turned on the light. The walls of the living room were painted a soft, peaceful blue color. It was a very simple apartment, and I stood in the middle of it, still wearing my large, heavy, white wedding dress. I felt like a stranger standing there. I felt out of place. This was supposed to be my new home, but I did not recognize anything. I felt like a guest who had stayed too long after the music stopped. I watched Greg take off his jacket and hang it neatly on the back of a chair. He looked tired after the long, stressful day. He looked handsome, too. He had dark, serious eyes that watched me closely. Greg broke the silence. His voice was deep when he spoke. "Are you hungry, Gemma?" he asked. I shook my head quickly. "No, thank you," I whispered back. I was too nervous to eat anything at all. My stomach felt tight and heavy with worry. Greg stepped closer to me. "You look scared," he said gently. He looked worried about my quietness. I did not want him to know the truth. I was terrified of what came next. I was scared of the night ahead and the future duties of a wife. I only knew how to follow my parents' rules. I had never been alone with a man before. I forced myself to look him in the eye. "I am not scared," I lied. I hoped my voice sounded strong. He looked at me for a long time, not speaking. The silence returned, thick and heavy, filling the small blue room. It felt like the beginning of a very long journey. A long night. Greg showed me the bedroom. It was a small room. There was only one bed inside. My heart started to beat very fast. I felt scared again in the new house. I walked quickly to the bathroom. I needed to change out of the big white dress. I took it off and put on my new silk pajamas. The silk felt cold on my skin. I looked at myself in the mirror. I still felt like a stranger in this new home. I opened the bathroom door slowly. I walked back into the room. Greg was already changed too. He wore a simple t-shirt and dark pajama pants. He was sitting on the edge of the bed. He was not looking at me. He was reading a book. This surprised me very much. I expected him to be waiting for me. I expected him to be impatient and demanding. I thought he would tell me what to do right away. Greg looked up from his book. He smiled a little bit. He patted the space next to him on the bed. "Come here, Gemma," he said quietly. I walked over and sat down. I sat stiffly, like a piece of wood. I was waiting for him to speak again. Then he spoke. "We do not have to do anything tonight," he said. His voice was very soft. He noticed my hands shaking a little. "You are trembling," he added. I looked at him, feeling shocked. I could not believe what he said. I thought husbands always wanted things immediately. Greg was different. He was patient. He waited for me. I felt very confused by his kindness. I did not know how to react to this new feeling. I lay down carefully on the bed. The bed was small, so we were close. We slept in the same bed, but we did not touch each other. I stayed completely on my side. Greg stayed on his side. I could hear his breathing. It was deep and steady. I could not sleep for a very long time. I listened to the quiet sounds of the night. I listened to Greg breathing next to me. I thought about my new husband. He was not the demanding man I had imagined. He was gentle. I felt a new feeling inside me. It was not fear. It was confusion mixed with great relief. It was a very long night. For a good wife. 1 week passed quickly in the small apartment. I established a very strict routine. I believed this routine would make me the perfect wife. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning before the sun rose. I cooked a hot breakfast for Greg every day. He always ate quickly before going to his job at the docks. When he left, I started my long list of duties. I scrubbed the kitchen floor until it was perfectly clean. I washed all the dishes. I cleaned the bathroom until the sink sparkled. I worked hard from morning until evening. I thought that keeping the house spotless was my most important job. I washed Greg's work clothes by hand. They were very heavy and dirty. They smelled of sea water and the hard work he did all day. I hung them outside to dry in the small yard. I never stopped moving. I felt like a machine that only knew how to clean. When Greg returned in the evening, I always smiled. I made sure my smile was wide and bright. I hid all my true feelings behind this happy mask. I did not tell him if I was tired or sad. I thought a good wife must never complain. I thought a good wife must only serve her husband. I believed he wanted a maid, not a woman with thoughts and wishes. I tried hard to avoid deep conversations. If Greg asked me about my day, I only said, "It was good. I cleaned the house." I did not tell him about the books I wanted to read or the songs I hummed when I was alone. I suppressed my personality deeply inside me. I wanted to erase the real Gemma and replace her with this quiet, perfect servant. The constant effort to pretend was exhausting. Every day, the struggle grew bigger. I felt my true self fighting to escape the quiet role I had chosen. I tried to keep her locked away. I believed that my safety depended on Greg's happiness, and I believed Greg's happiness depended only on clean floors and hot meals. I did not want to cause any trouble or make any noise. I moved through the rooms like a shadow. I was always worried about making a mistake. I lived in fear of doing something wrong. I was not Gemma anymore. I was only the idea of a good wife. This quiet life felt heavy, and I felt very alone, even when Greg was home. I continued this routine for 7 days, trying to be exactly what I thought he expected me to be. 5. The broken plate. The strict routine I started had continued for 7 days. I tried very hard to be the perfect wife. I cleaned the small apartment every morning. I cooked dinner every night. I hid my true thoughts and feelings. I believed that if I made a mistake, Greg would be disappointed. I walked around the house quietly, like a shadow. I did not want to cause any trouble. One evening, I stood at the sink. I was washing the dirty dishes from dinner. The kitchen was warm and quiet. I held a white ceramic plate in my wet hands. I was thinking about how tired I felt. Then the plate moved. It slipped quickly from my grip. Crash! The sound was loud and sharp. It felt like a gunshot in the quiet room. The white plate hit the hard floor and broke instantly. Hundreds of small, shiny pieces of glass scattered everywhere. I froze. My heart started to beat very fast. I looked at the mess. This was a mistake, a big mistake. I knew I should clean it right away. I bent down quickly. As I reached for a large piece, the edge sliced my skin. A sharp pain shot through my left index finger. I saw a small line of red blood appear. I did not panic because of the cut. I panicked because of the broken plate. I started crying immediately. I expected Greg to rush in and shout. I expected him to be angry about the money lost or the time needed to clean the floor. "I am sorry, I am so sorry," I cried, repeating the words quickly. Greg rushed into the kitchen doorway. He moved quickly. I kept crying and trying to gather the sharp pieces. "Gemma, stop!" His voice was strong. He stepped carefully over the broken glass and came toward me. He took my arm gently. He pulled me up to stand. I was still crying hard, covering my face with my free hand. I waited for the anger, but it never came. He did not look down at the floor. He ignored the mess completely. He focused only on me. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice soft now. He took my injured hand and turned it over. He examined the finger where the blood was still coming out. "You cut yourself," he stated simply. I could not understand. Why was he not shouting? Why was he not upset about the broken plate? I thought the plate was more important than me. But Greg only looked into my eyes. He led me slowly out of the kitchen, away from the glass. His attention was completely on my injury. He sat me down in the living room chair and went to find the first aid kit. My shaking slowly stopped, replaced by confusion about his surprising kindness. 6. Speaking the truth. Greg was careful as he cleaned my cut. He used a small cloth and then put a white bandage on my finger. The cut was not deep, but it was a sign of my big fear. We left the broken plate pieces on the kitchen floor. We walked slowly to the living room. We sat together on the sofa. I sat stiffly at first, waiting for a lecture that never came. I felt strange because I was usually busy cleaning or working. Greg did not turn on the light. The room was dim and quiet. He took my free hand in his rough, warm one. He looked at me for a long time. His dark eyes were serious. "Gemma," he said. His voice was quiet and very gentle. "Why do you act like this?" I did not understand his question. "Like what?" I asked him. I thought I was doing everything right. I cooked every meal. I washed all his rough work clothes. I kept the blue house perfectly clean. I truly thought this was how a good wife behaved. "Like a shadow," he said. "You hide all the time, you smile, but your eyes are sad. You move fast, cleaning and cooking, but you never talk about yourself. You never tell me what you feel. I married a woman, Gemma. I did not marry a robot who cleans my house. I want to see you." He leaned closer. "I want the real you. Where is the girl who laughs? Where is the girl who gets angry sometimes?" My heart stopped beating for a moment. No one had ever asked me this before. My parents only wanted me to be quiet and follow all the rules. They never asked me to be real. I looked at Greg. He wanted me to be myself. He wanted a partner, not a servant. He wanted the woman who could make mistakes, like dropping a plate. This idea was completely new to me. My whole life, I had tried to be invisible and perfect. Now, the man I married wanted me to be visible and imperfect. A big wave of feeling came over me. I felt the tears start to fall. They were not sad tears. They were happy tears. I finally felt understood. He saw me. He did not care about the broken glass or the dirty floor. He cared about my true self. I felt seen for the first time in my life. I felt safe. I stopped hiding. Greg just watched me and waited. I knew everything was going to change now. 7, closer to him. We sat close together on the sofa. The room felt different now. It was not tense anymore. The air felt warm and exciting. I looked at Greg. He looked at my face, and then he looked at my mouth. I did not look down this time. I looked back at him. I wanted him to kiss me. Greg moved slowly. He leaned in toward me. His lips touched mine. The kiss was very soft at the start. Then it became stronger. It was a long kiss, and it felt deep. I felt something warm move through my whole body. All the fear I had for many days went away instantly. He pulled back a little bit. He kept his face very close to mine. "Gemma," he whispered my name against my mouth. "Are you ready for this?" I did not need to think about my answer. I moved my head up and down. "Yes," I said. This was a big moment. I was not saying yes because I had to. I was not doing this because it was the duty of a wife. I was doing this because I truly wanted to be close to him. I wanted to connect with the kind man sitting next to me. I wanted to know him better. This night was my first time being intimate with a man. It was not like the stories I read or the films I had seen. It was a little bit clumsy sometimes, but it was very sweet. Greg was careful. He was gentle. He moved slowly and waited for me. He watched my expression to make sure I was comfortable. We moved from the sofa to the bedroom. The blue walls of the room felt safe now. I looked at Greg's face in the dim light. "Look at me," he whispered again. I looked into his dark eyes. I saw kindness there. I saw respect. I also saw true love. He was not taking something from me. He was sharing something with me. I held him tightly. I felt his skin against mine. It was a wonderful feeling. For the first time since the wedding day, I did not feel like a scared girl. I did not feel invisible or weak. I felt powerful. I felt like a woman who was making her own choice. I felt deeply connected to him. This was the first time I truly felt like his partner. We stayed awake for many hours after that moment. We did not speak much. We just held each other close until the morning came, 8, walking together. The next morning, the sun was very bright. It came through the window and made the room warm. I woke up first. I felt very peaceful. I looked at Greg sleeping next to me. He looked calm and quiet. The scared feeling I had carried for many days was finally gone now. I felt like a different person. The girl who was afraid on her wedding day had truly disappeared. We got ready slowly. We were not in a hurry to start the day. We decided to walk to the market. We needed fresh food for the house, like bread and vegetables. Walking outside felt different today. The air felt fresh and clean, and I felt light. We walked down the street together, enjoying the morning. Suddenly, I saw someone I knew very well. It was my mother. She was walking toward us from the other direction. When she saw me, she stopped immediately. She looked closely at my face. I knew my hair was a little messy from sleeping. But I was smiling a very big, happy smile. My mother looked surprised. She noticed where I was standing. Before, I always walked a few steps behind Greg. I thought that was the proper way for a wife to walk. Today, I was right next to him. I held his hand tightly. His rough hand felt strong and safe in mine. We were walking together, side by side, like equals. "Gemma," my mother said. Her voice was quiet and full of questions. "You look different." I did not look away. I looked at my mother and smiled again. Greg squeezed my hand gently. He looked at me and winked quickly. This small action made me feel even happier and more confident. "I feel different, Mother," I told her. I thought about the last few weeks. I remembered trying to be a perfect, quiet wife. I remembered the moment I broke the plate and Greg's surprising kindness. I remembered him saying he wanted the real me, not a servant. I realized I did not have to pretend anymore. I did not have to worry about cleaning every small thing perfectly or staying silent. I could talk. I could laugh loudly. I could be messy sometimes. I did not have to be a shadow or a doll anymore. I was a person, and Greg loved that person. "I am just myself now," I said clearly to my mother. "Finally, I am just myself." My mother did not say anything else. She just looked at us for a moment. Then we continued walking toward the market, two people walking the same path together.